Hey everyone, and welcome. Today we are going to crack the code on a super powerful tool for any leader out there, how to really understand and then close your team's performance gap. So let's just dive right in.
You've probably been there, right? It's this nagging feeling. You know your team has more to give, but figuring out why they aren't is like trying to solve a puzzle with half the pieces missing. You can feel the gap between where you are and where you could be, but it's all kind of fuzzy.
Well, that's exactly what we're going to bring into focus today. See, the real key to unlocking all that potential is learning how to properly identify, define, and truly understand this thing called the performance gap.
And don't worry, we're going to break it down into a really simple, but believe me, incredibly effective three-step framework. First, we review, then we analyze, and finally, we identify the gap. Simple as that.
Okay, first up is the review. And I want you to think of yourself as a detective at this stage. Seriously, your only job right now is to gather the clues, just the raw facts of the case.
So the key word here is objective. A performance review, when you do it right, is not about your opinions or how you feel about things. Nope. It's all about collecting the cold, hard data about what is actually happening. We are not making any judgments at all yet. We're just observing and writing it all down.
And these are exactly the kinds of clues we're looking for. What are your key metrics? Sales numbers, project deadlines, whatever they are. What specific tasks are actually getting checked off the list? And what behaviors can you literally see with your own two eyes? These are your facts.
So let's move on to step 2, because this is where it gets interesting. Now that we have all our clues, it's time for the analysis. This is where we start to connect the dots and see the bigger picture. You know, if the review stage was all about the what, the analysis stage is about asking, so what? You're taking all that objective data you gathered, and you're starting to look for the story it's trying to tell you. You're hunting for the patterns, the trends, the insights that you wouldn't see just by glancing at it. These are the questions that really drive the analysis. It's not enough to just see a dip in productivity. You gotta ask, does that dip happen every single month? Does it only happen when a certain project is going on? You're looking for those recurring bottlenecks, but also for the surprising areas where the team is absolutely crushing it. This is how data becomes intelligence.
And all that hard work, all that detective work leads us right here to our final step, identifying the gap. This is that aha moment where the problem you need to solve finally comes into crystal clear focus.
At its heart, a gap analysis is really just putting a name to the problem. You're clearly defining that space between your current reality, which you now understand thanks to all your analysis, and that future goal you're trying to reach. I love this slide because it just makes the whole concept so simple. Right here on one side, you've got where we are, and that's based on all your data, all your facts. And over there, you've got where we need to be, based on your goals. The space right in the middle, that's it. That's your gap. That's the challenge.
Now, you could just take this three-step process and do it all by yourself, but there's one secret ingredient that really separates a good analysis from one that completely transforms your team.
And that key, that secret ingredient, is unlocking team buy-in. It's about shifting this whole thing from a lonely leadership task to a collaborative team mission. Now this right here, this quote is the heart of it all. Notice it doesn't say the leader tells the team what the gap is. No, it says the leader leads the team to identify the gap. A gap that is agreeable by everyone. That's the game changer.
So you might be asking, okay, but why? Why is that agreement so critical? Why does it matter so much?
Well, because it changes everything. When the team defines the gap together, it stops being the boss's problem and it becomes our problem, right? It creates this powerful sense of shared ownership. And from there, you get a unified approach to the solution because everyone is on the same page. And maybe the best part? It transforms the whole process from feeling like a top-down judgment into a shared, empowering team goal. So let's just quickly wrap this all up and look at your path forward, from this powerful analysis straight into meaningful action. Just remember the framework. Step 1, you review the hard facts, no opinions. Step 2, you analyze those facts for real insights. And step 3, the most important part, you define the gap together.
And that's really the magic of this whole approach. It takes that vague, frustrating feeling that things could be better, and it turns it into a clear, well-defined, shared challenge that your entire team actually feels excited to take on. So I'll leave you with this question to think about. What is the first performance gap that you're going to analyze with your team? Thanks so much for tuning in.